So many times people ask me about my life's work experiences, and while there are many that have impacted my life, none have compared to my serving experience in a restaurant so many years ago. The lessons that I learned, the people I met, and the skills that I obtained from a small but oh so large experience. It impacted me throughout my life until recently. I've always wanted to have an impact that changed lives and made them better. And if I couldn't impact them being smarter or healthier, I always desired to make them richer somehow. Being part of removing burdens that hold us back and keep us down. And a few years ago, in working in the mining industry, I met a man from Australia that shared so many like minded visions of a future and a better world. We collaborated thoughts and shared work processes to improve our same constraints at work in different parts of the world. And the friendship grew, and the desire to work together became a reality 8 years later. I've always wanted to be my own boss, make my own decisions, and get paid to give back to others. And during my last years in the mining industry, I began to watch the world come against coal miners and attack their livelihoods. It bothered me. And being a water bug who loves the environment, covets the beauty of nature, and feels a very spiritual connection on the rapids or in the woods, I've always desired to be part of a solution to a very old problem: carbon and water pollution. Being a science novice, I didn't think that would ever happen for me, but being a people's person, it did. And I began networking, connecting, creating open dialogue, and bringing experts together to have these hard conversations that led me to starting a business with others who also saw this vision. I've always cared about the suffrage of rural Alabama, and I desired to revamp Mayberries all around the state, bring businesses to small towns for revenue. And I have wanted for a long time to prevent families from being forced to leave their homes. I've wanted towns to offer education and opportunities to their children and create a world that makes us better together. All roads have led me to be on this pathway to Montgomery now, with the ability to legislate a better world for everyone and put a stop to the struggling around us. I believe that our new business will do just that: bring jobs directly and indirectly to all parts of Alabama and America. So I want to take a moment to tell you about my business, New H2O Resources, and why we need it today. So bear with me, and I will attempt to summarize history and help you visualize a future. As the Industrial Revolution was charging forward in the late 1800s, the demand for raw materials, including coal, steel, and electricity, was growing exponentially. Coal was the mineral of choice in that it was a necessary component for the steel industry and was also burned to generate electricity. This insatiable demand for coal was an economic boom for many areas of the country, and almost overnight, it turned poor areas that relied on agriculture to suddenly see a huge demand for workers that were being paid a good wage. The total number of Americans working at coal mines reached a peak number of 863,000 workers in 1923. The formation of unions and government regulations made the coal mines in the U.S. safer for workers, and the wages rose as the demand rose. And at the peak in 2007, thermal coal, which is burned to generate electricity, was responsible for half of the electrical generation in the US. Around the latter half of the 20th century, many people were starting to claim that the burning of fossil fuels, including coal, oil, and natural gas, were having a negative impact on the environment. And while there is still no conclusive data to support or deny this claim, many people are turning more and more to renewable energy to generate clean, renewable electricity. And as this demand for renewable energy grew stronger and stronger and was funded in part by governmental grants and tax incentives, the number of coal mines and coal mine workers began to decrease. Today, there are only 43,000 coal mine workers in the US, and only 2,600 coal mine jobs are in Alabama. In addition, the percentage of electricity generated by coal has dropped to 25%. Alabama was a huge part of this history. Since coal mining began in the region in the late 1800s, there have been over I don't know how many mines opened and later abandoned when the resource was depleted or economics forced the closure of the mines. Today, there are 7 underground coal mines and 22 surface coal mines in operation. Many communities have felt the negative impacts and the effects with the closure of these coal mines and the lost jobs and paid good wages. The coal mine worker was and still is a very proud individual who provided the means for their families and communities to prosper and flourish, and provided an invaluable resource to the growth of Alabama. and America. Fast forward to new H2O energy. This is where new H2O energy comes into play. Through our novel concepts, the coal mines that are now open or have been abandoned can be repurposed to provide clean, renewable energy to the electrical grid, and at the same time can continue to provide jobs to communities that are desperately in need of an economic base. Not only can we repurpose coal mines to provide a clean source of renewable energy, but we can also provide a means to clean up old, abandoned acid mine drainage, provide a source of clean water for agricultural and recreational use, and generate other needed sources of fuel additives, including methanol and hydrogen. So here's how this works. The surface and underground voids that were left after the coal mining process provides a huge storage reservoir for water, is not subjected to the evaporation process, and therefore conserves the water resource. Through proven technology, H2O Energy can repurpose the mines to siphon the water from the surface, holding pits into the underground storage areas of the mines via a pipe, and end up at turbine or multiple turbines located underground to generate electricity. It's exciting, right? Well, during high peak demand times, the clean renewable electricity is put on the grid to satisfy the growing demand for electricity in this country. During off-peak hours, the generation of this electricity can be reduced to meet the lower demand, and the water is pumped from the underground mine back up to holding ponds onto the surface, utilizing low-energy pumps that can also be powered by clean solar panel technology or wind turbines. This entire process is known as pumped hydroelectric storage. The process is the same as that used by hydroelectric companies that utilize dams to generate electricity. Water behind a dam is released from a higher elevation and coursed through a pipe that runs through a turbine generator. The potential energy in the water is converted into electricity. The same exact process as described above at the coal mines. The advantage that H2O Energy has is that we don't need a dam and we can use the same water repeatedly. The repurposed mine is now a giant battery that can be attached to the grid to provide clean, renewable energy for years to come. This process is continued 24/7 and it's sustainable. The advantage for this process are numerous. Instead of closing and reclaiming the mine, we are allowing the mine and jobs to continue. This creates a long-term tax base for the local economy, as well as continuing jobs that would have been lost otherwise. And because mines have had or currently have an existing infrastructure, it is very easy to tap into the electrical grid for most locations. This repurposing of the coal mines allows for the mine's life to be extended up to another 30 to 50 years and continue to provide jobs and an economic base to the local communities that are in desperate need of jobs and growth. Other advantages include stopping the discharge of acid mine drainage into the Alabama rivers and treating the tainted water to provide a clean discharge into the waterways. Hydrogen can be generated as a fuel additive by utilizing some of the generated electricity to run an electrolysis process or a synthetic menthol that also can be manufactured. So let's fast forward, okay? The future of this novel application of existing technology translates into a bright future for Alabama. Not only can we become energy independent, we are giving something back to all those special coal miners, their families, communities, and the environment. Embracing this concept does nothing but help us bring new solutions to old problems. I hope that you're going to join me in embracing an opportunity that leaves no one behind. I'm Lisa Ward, Vice President of Corporate Affairs and your Democratic nominee for Alabama State Senate, District 21.